Beggars used to be a thing of the past, but they've come back into vogue now, and they're very organized. They have their own little corners, and sometimes you see them fighting when some other beggar tries to take over their place. You can make $200 a day, tax exempt from begging, and they really are smart. They will walk up and down, and they can tell whether you're going to give them something because if you don't look at them, they just don't bother with you. But if you have the misfortune of looking at them, the eyes being the window of the souls, they see whether you have a heart or not, and they tend to look at you back and glare and see what they can get from you. So today, or 2 days running, we have two resurrection stories that are ongoing in the Bible, and the readings from the Bible today. Part of the jury presentation, the power of the risen Christ. We see one is a story of a beggar and the other strangers. So the beggar is looking for something from these two guys who go into the temple at 3:00 to do their praying. By the way, those who don't believe you need to go to church, even the apostles after the resurrection went to temple, leaving it to the new generation to stop the practices of their faith in the old way, the Jewish way. Not that the Jewish way wasn't good enough, but it wasn't adequate. It didn't fulfill the fullness of the revelation of God, and so eventually it just dropped away. But they were going at 3:00 for prayer, and they went by the beautiful gate. Every gate of God's house is a beautiful gate because it's inside the house of God that true beauty is found. So they're going in with this beautiful gate, and there they see this beggar. And he looks at them, and they look at him, and then it says, Peter and John looked intently at the beggar. This is the same Peter who couldn't stand the sight of the girls who he tried to avoid because they called him out on being a follower of Jesus. But now he looks intently at this beggar and he tells them, look at us. That's interesting. Faith is really sight without seeing. And the beggar looked at not for any cure, but he was expecting something. He was looking for money. And then Peter says something very strange, and I think it's a key to the whole understanding of what we're reading today or hearing today, at least yesterday in the reading and continue out today. He says, gold and silver I have not. If these are your treasures and these are what you want, that's what the bums want. They don't want a hamburger. They don't want a glass of hot coffee. They want money so they can use it to go out and get what they can't get in a shelter. They can't get from those who really want to help them. But when they look intently at Peter and John, he doesn't give them. John and Peter do not give this man what he wants. They give him what he needs. And they raise him up. They say to him, first of all, in the name of Jesus Christ, risen from the dead, I heal you. They raise him up. Jesus was raised from the dead. So this is a resurrection story. The very words, Jesus has been raised from the dead. So they raised this man who's been dead to life. He can't walk. He's crippled from birth. They give him a new birth. Resurrection is all about new birth. New birth of the church, the new birth of Adam, the new birth of life. It's a recreation, not just a resurrection. It's a recreation. And so they raise him up and they cure him. Why can't we do that? Because we have gold and we have silver. And until our treasure is Jesus, we're not able to work his miracles. Gold and silver I have not, but what I have, I share. I give to you. And the only gift you can give besides knowledge, you give it away, you always have, it doesn't leave you, It's with you and it's enriching the person near to you. And so the faith never, Jesus doesn't leave you when you give him away. He grows in you. And the more you give him, the more you have of him to give. The more room in your heart for beggars and for bums and for people who don't belong in your heart. They find a space because they're hidden away. Is Jesus in need? And so when you share with those what's in your heart, that gift never can be a failure, never can be given in vain. And you have to understand what the man does. He jumps for joy and leaps and praises the God who has worked this resurrection in his life. He's just so filled with happiness. And the people's response is astonishment that in the house of God miracles could be worked. It's like the prophet who was astonished that his prayer, Zechariah, was answered. He prayed it so often he forgot. He even prayed the prayer for his child. But God never forgets a prayer and answers every prayer in his time, in his way. He doesn't give you what you want. He gives you what you need.